We have a pretty significant trade to talk about today, just a week and a half after the New York Islanders acquired Bo Horvat from the Vancouver Canucks. The New York Rangers have made a big splash, acquiring sniper Vladimir Tarasenko and defenseman Nico Mikkola from the St. Louis Blues in exchange for Sammy Blais, prospect Hunter Skinner, a conditional 2023 first, and a 2024 fourth, and the Blues also retain 50% of Tarasenko's cap hit. The condition on the first-round pick going to St. Louis is the Blues get the later of the Rangers' 2 first-round picks, either the Rangers' own first-rounder or Dallas's. The 2024 fourth-round pick going to St. Louis is also conditional. It becomes a third-rounder if the Rangers make the playoffs, which, I mean, they're likely going to. So those are the full details on the trade. A lot of moving factors here. The New York Rangers finally get the top 6 winger that they have been looking for. They were heavily rumored to be in on Timo Meier, Patrick Kane. This likely takes them out of the sweepstakes for those 2 players. I think this is a very good trade for the New York Rangers. Tarasenko fills out their top 9 beautifully, especially with how well that third line of Hedl, Kakko, and Lafreniere has been playing as of late. You now have the ability to shift Barclay Goodrow from his top 6 role that he's been playing recently down to the 4th line, where I think he thrives. Love the idea of Vladimir Tarasenko getting to play with somebody like Artemi Panarin, who's obviously a fantastic playmaker, although Tarasenko has not matched his production from last season where he put up a career-high 82 points. This is a guy who is a Stanley Cup champion, and he's a proven playoff performer. He has 41 goals in 90 career playoff games. You would have to imagine, given New York's cap situation, this is likely just going to be a rental, as Vladimir Tarasenko is set to hit the open market in the summer, but the Rangers were definitely in a position as to where they could make a move like this for a big-time rental. I love the condition on that first-round pick where the later first-rounder goes to the Blues, so the Rangers are still going to keep their highest first-round pick. For those of you who don't remember, the reason why the Rangers have 2 first-round picks is because they got one from Dallas as part of the Nils Lundkvist trade. Overall thoughts on this deal, though, for the Rangers, I really like it. They didn't have to give up one of their top prospects or young roster players. Hunter Skinner was just a 4th-round pick in 2019, has spent the majority of the season in the ECHL, probably a long shot at this point to become a regular NHLer. You send Sammy Blais back to St. Louis where he started his career. He came to New York as part of that Pavel Buchnevich trade. The Rangers are not going to miss Sammy Blais. He has still yet to score a goal this season in 40 games. And like I mentioned, they get to keep the better of their first-round picks. Really nice bit of work here by the New York Rangers. I love this addition for them. And also you get Nico Mikkola, who is a big physical bottom-pairing defenseman. They actually placed Libor Hayek on waivers, likely in anticipation of having Mikkola in the top 6. But now let's shift focus and talk about this deal a little bit from the point of view of the St. Louis Blues. I know there's probably going to be a lot of Blues fans that are underwhelmed with this return, but the reality of the situation is they had to trade him because he was likely as good as gone in free agency anyways. A lot of people forget that Vladimir Tarasenko, I think over a year ago now, actually requested a trade away from St. Louis. However, it wasn't one of those trade requests where the player sits out until they are dealt. Vladimir Tarasenko remained professional, continued to play for St. Louis, and actually played at a pretty high level. In my opinion, though, there was likely a less than 5% chance he would have re-signed with the Blues in the offseason, so at least they are getting something in return here. And the Blues are 2 games under 500 currently. It's not looking like they're going to be a serious threat to fight for one of those wildcard spots down the stretch. It makes sense for this team to go through a little bit of a retool. I don't think they're done. I think likely sometime within the next couple of weeks we see maybe a Ryan O'Reilly trade, a Braden Shen trade. Ivan Barbashev is another name that's been thrown around a lot in trade rumors. I think this Blues roster is going to look a lot different a month from now than it does even today after Vladimir Tarasenko has been traded. So all in all, like I said, yes, some Blues fans may look at this as an underwhelming return, but at least they got a first-round pick, right? Like when Vladimir Tarasenko requested a trade, I believe it was before the start of last season, his value was a lot lower than it is today. If they would have traded him right away, don't think there would have been any chance they would have gotten a first, especially considering at that time there was a couple years left on his deal. But I think if you're a Blues fan, the way you just have to look at this is this return is a lot better than nothing, and I think that's what they would have gotten had they decided to hold on to Tarasenko past the deadline. If the St. Louis Blues were in a playoff spot right now, then I think it would have been a different story. It could have still made sense for St. Louis to hold on to Tarasenko and kind of use him, as their own rental, right? But that's just not the case. I think this is a move the St. Louis Blues absolutely had to make, and all things considered, I don't think it is an awful return. So that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on the Vladimir Tarasenko trade to the New York Rangers. As always, I'm really interested to hear your guys' thoughts, especially if you're a fan of the St. Louis Blues or the New York Rangers. How do you think your team did in this trade? Leave me your reasons why down below. Of course, if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like on the video. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want to stay up to date with all the big trades leading up to the deadline, then be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.